Victor lives in a small, poor neighborhood with his parents. Even though money is scarce, his parents always make the effort to give him a decent life, a meal, simple clothes, and most importantly, school. From the outside, one could believe that everything is fine. But the reality begins every evening as soon as the sun goes down. Victor cannot sleep, not because he isn't tired, but because he lives in a house where peace never exists at night. As soon as night falls, everything changes. His parents' voices rise again and again, as if they were waiting for the city to fall asleep to start their arguments. It begins with reproaches. "You never do enough. I'm tired of this life." Then the insults come. Then the shouting. Then violent noises. Victor hears things falling, a chair being dragged. A door slams shut and sometimes blows. He hears his mother scream. He hears his father lose control. And there in his small bed, Victor presses his pillow tightly against his chest. He wants to run and help his mother, but he's only 10 years old. He is too small to stop an adult, so he does what children do in those situations. He cries silently. He closes his eyes as tightly as he can, hoping that morning will come quickly. But every night is worse than the one before. One evening, the argument becomes so violent that the entire neighborhood wakes up. Neighbors come outside. Some approach the house. Others call Victor's mother through the window. "Is everything okay in there? Open the door." Terrified, Victor watches the scene from inside. The house shakes under his parents' screams. Then suddenly, everything stops. His father grabs a bag, opens the door with a brutal gesture, and leaves without a word. He does not look at Victor. He does not even look at his wife. He leaves the house and disappears into the dark street. This time it is not like the other arguments. He does not come back. The silence that follows is almost more violent than the screams. His mother sits on the floor, her face in her hands. Victor slowly approaches her, his eyes still wet with tears. She murmurs in a trembling voice, "He's gone." Victor understands her words. He understands that their life has just changed. He understands that there will be no one left to help his mother. No one to share the bills, the meals, the problems. That night, Victor realizes something no 10-year-old child should ever realize. His childhood is just ended. And from that moment begins the hardest period of their lives. After the father's departure, the small house feels even emptier than before. There are no more arguments, no more screams, but there is also no one left to help. No one to pay the expenses. No one to bring in money. Victor's mother finds herself alone, completely alone, facing a life she never chose to face without support. And yet, she does not give up. She wakes up early every morning, ties her wrap, and goes out to look for any small job to survive. She starts by selling donuts on the street corner. Then she washes neighbors' clothes for a few coins. She also cleans houses in the neighborhood. None of this brings in much money, but it is enough to make sure her son does not sleep on an empty stomach. Victor is only 10 years old, but he sees the fatigue in his mother's eyes. He sees how hard she struggles. So, in his own way, he decides to help her. Every day after school, he goes to the big market with a cooler borrowed from a neighbor. He sells sachets of cold water under the burning sun, shouting to attract passers-by. "Cold water. Cold water. It's cold." The coins he earns, he does not keep for himself. He buys his lunch for the next day, a piece of bread, a banana, sometimes a small donut if sales were good. His mother, with the money from her work, prepares dinner, sometimes rice, sometimes just cassava. But nothing is ever wasted because they have no choice. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into 5 long years. 5 years of work without rest. 5 years of exhaustion. 5 years of survival. But one morning, when nothing suggested that their life was about to change, someone knocks on their door. The mother opens, surprised. A delivery man stands there, surrounded by several boxes and heavy bags. He places on the ground bags of rice, milk, spaghetti, oil, and a thick envelope. The mother steps back, confused. "Sir, you must be mistaken. "We didn't order anything." The delivery man looks at his paper and smiles slightly. "No, ma'am, this is the right house. All of this is for you." And before she can ask any more questions, he leaves. Victor and his mother remain frozen, unable to move. They have never received so much food at once. They have never seen such a thick envelope. Inside, there are 200,000 euros. The mother trembles. She doesn't understand. She thinks it must be a mistake. But the paper placed at the bottom of the box will change everything. That evening, while putting away the supplies, they find a small letter carefully folded. The mother opens it with trembling hands. The words are simple, but they hit like a hammer. "Forgive me. I am sorry for abandoning you." She recognizes the handwriting. Victor does too. It is Victor's father. Silently, tears run down the mother's cheeks. No anger, no complete joy either. Just a strange mix of relief and pain. For Victor, it is the first glimmer of hope in a long time. He does not understand everything, but he knows that maybe their life is starting to change. What he does not know yet is that this envelope marks the beginning of a story much darker than the poverty they once knew. From the day they received the first envelope, Victor's and his mother's life slowly begins to change. They do not understand where the money comes from, nor why Victor's father remains silent. But at the end of each month, like clockwork, someone knocks on the door. The same delivery man, the same cooler filled with supplies, the same heavy bags placed in front of their small house, and always an envelope. The first contains 200,000 euros, the second, a little more, the third, even more. The months pass, and the amounts increase. Then one day, 4 million. Each time, Victor's mother opens the envelope trembling. She sits down, puts her hand over her mouth, and whispers, "Oh Lord, thank you, thank you, thank you." Victor watches his mother smile for the first time in years. They pay off their accumulated debts. They buy a real mattress for Victor. He eats better: fish, chicken, vegetables. They can finally breathe. Little by little, their house no longer feels as sad as before. There is food in the cupboards, soap, milk, simple things they had not seen in a long time. For the first time in his life, Victor feels that poverty is no longer a prison. But despite this new stability, one question remains unanswered. Where is Victor's father? Every month, the mother asks the delivery man if he has his contact. He shakes his head. "I only deliver what I am given." They call cousins, aunts, uncles. No one knows where he is. Some say he traveled. Others say he works in another city. But everyone repeats the same sentence. "We only know that he sends money. The rest, we don't know." This absence becomes a mystery that grows every month. How can a man who once had almost nothing send so much money? And more each time? But despite the questions, life continues. Life becomes softer, simpler, calmer, until the day everything collapses. One morning, Victor's mother's phone rings. She answers normally, thinking it might be a client asking her to wash clothes. But on the other end, an unfamiliar voice asks for her name, then announces coldly, "Madame, we are sorry to inform you that your husband has passed away." She drops the phone. Victor jumps. He runs to her. He sees her face change. Her eyes fill with tears. "What is it, Ma?" She cannot even answer. She sits down, one hand on her chest, as if the world is collapsing beneath her. Victor understands. Even without words, he understands. The father who sent money every month, the one no one had news of, the one who disappeared without a trace. He is dead. The news falls like a hammer blow, not only because he is gone, but because he leaves without ever explaining the truth. And Victor, without knowing it yet, has just entered a story where the money falling from the sky hides a price far heavier than anything he can imagine. A few days after the announcement of Victor's father's death, the mother receives an unexpected call. They are summoned to another city, far from their neighborhood, to settle the inheritance. She doesn't really understand why they are being called. But they take the bus in silence, hearts heavy, still shaken. The journey is long. Victor watches the landscape pass by, thinking about a father he never truly knew, yet who'd changed their lives through his mysterious envelopes. He wonders what he is about to discover. He even wonders if he should be afraid. When they arrive at their destination, Victor and his mother freeze. In front of them stands a house. No, not a house, a modern palace entirely made of glass, transparent walls reflecting sunlight, a massive swimming pool stretching along the side, a perfectly maintained garden surrounding the property, and in front of the entrance, several luxury cars are parked, shining as if they just came out of a showroom. Victor doesn't even dare blink. He has never seen such wealth, not even on television. His mother grips her bag tightly, impressed, almost intimidated. She wonders if this is really the place they were called to, or if someone made a mistake. But no. Inside, they see the father's entire family gathered. Uncles, aunts, cousins, all seated as if waiting for something important. When Victor and his mother enter, several gazes turn toward them. Some surprised, others hostile. A few minutes later, the notary arrives, black suit, briefcase in hand. He sits down and begins to read the father's will. The room becomes silent. Then the words fall one by one like thunder. Everything goes to Victor. The main house, the black Rolls-Royce, the bank accounts. An uproar immediately breaks out. That's impossible. How can a child inherit everything? He forgot us. What is this? The father's uncles stand up, angry, almost shouting at the notary. But the will is clear, signed, valid. The man is only executing the wishes of the deceased. Victor, meanwhile, does not understand much at all. He looks at his mother, lost and trembling. She says nothing. She, the woman who had lost everything, now receives everything her husband owned. The notary hands them the keys and the documents and simply says, "From today, this house is yours." The following weeks feel like a dream. They move into the glass house surrounded by servants ready to meet their every need. Victor has his own bedroom, his own bathroom, new clothes, and a table always full of food. He goes from a life of survival to a life of luxury. But something feels wrong. His mother no longer sleeps well. Every night she wakes up suddenly, drenched in sweat, terrified. She tells Victor that she always has the same nightmare. She sees herself dying in that house. She begs Victor, "My son, we have to leave this place. This house is not normal. I feel like it is going to kill me." Victor, still young, does not understand the weight of her words. For him, it is just stress, fear, exhaustion. So he refuses to leave the house. But to reassure his mother, he uses his new money to buy her another house. Far from there, modern, comfortable, with servants to help her. He thinks everything is fine now. He believes his mother will finally be at peace. He has no idea that her nightmares are the first warning of the pact his father left behind. One evening, while Victor is watching television in the large living room, a servant he rarely sees approaches him. He does not smile. He does not speak immediately. He sits down slowly, like someone carrying a heavy burden. Victor looks at him, surprised. The servant murmurs in a deep voice, "Your father left me a message for you." Victor frowns. He did not expect this. The servant takes a deep breath, then begins to tell what Victor's father never told him. He explains that their family was never rich, that they come from a long lineage of misery, and that one day Victor's father, exhausted by poverty, decided to make a pact. "Your father made a pact to become rich. The wealth requires blood." Victor straightens up, shocked, waiting for what comes next. The servant continues, "At the end of every year, a member of the family must be sacrificed to renew the wealth. And now that your father is dead, you are the one who must continue the pact. You must send provisions to the entire family every month. You must send money as well. And above all, you must respect all the rules. Otherwise, the pact stops and the heir dies. Victor swallows hard. The heir? That's me? The servant lowers his head. Yes, it's you. For a few seconds, Victor remains silent. Then he bursts out laughing. He thinks it is a joke, an invented story, a superstition. He shakes his head. Stop it, this is nonsense. I don't believe in any of this. He stands up and leaves the living room, leaving the servant alone, worried. Despite the warnings, Victor does nothing. He ignores everything. He continues to live his new life. Luxury cars, parties, money flowing freely. An entire year passes in comfort and illusion, without him knowing that the worst is already in motion. Since living in the big house, Victor fully enjoys his new life. Among all the riches he inherited, the car that attracts the most attention is his black Rolls-Royce, shining like liquid glass. In the entire country, no one owns a car like it. So when Victor drives it to the market, it is as if a king is crossing the city. That day, he feels light. He turns on the music, opens the window slightly, and drives calmly. When he arrives at the market, all eyes immediately turn toward him. Vendors stop talking. Motorcycles slow down. Even children stop playing. Look at that. That's him, the rich young man. The car shines under the sun. Some people even take out their phones to film. Victor smiles slightly. He likes the feeling. He gets out of the car, locks it, and enters a shop to buy a few things. But only seconds after he goes inside, a scream cuts through the air of the market. Look at the car. It's changing. Other voices follow immediately. Mom, that's not a car anymore. Film this. Film it. Victor frowns, surprised. He puts down what he was holding and runs outside. What he sees freezes him in place, exactly where he parked his Rolls-Royce. There is no longer a car. In its place, resting on the ground as if it had always been there, stands a massive black coffin, shiny, decorated with gold exactly the size of a human body. People step back, screaming. Women cover their mouths. Some panic and run away. Others film with trembling hands. This is not normal. May God protect us. That car is cursed. Victor feels his heart tighten. His throat closes. He doesn't know what to say or what to do. He feels heavy. Accusing stares turn toward him. Shame overwhelms him. Fear, too. He doesn't wait for questions. He runs. He flees through the narrow streets without looking back, as if the coffin might follow him. When he arrives home, breathless and trembling, he immediately looks for the servant who had spoken to him about the pact. Explain to me what is happening. Why did my car turn into a coffin? The servant looks at him without surprise, as if he knew this moment would come. He sits calmly, his expression serious. The pact demands a life. You ignored the rules. You did not sacrifice anyone this year. So the pact came to remind you that nothing is free. Victor shakes his head, his hands trembling. But I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want to do this. The servant sighs and adds, if you refuse, the heir dies. And the heir is you. A heavy silence settles. For the first time, Victor understands that his wealth is not a gift. It is not a blessing. It is a chain, a golden prison, a trap slowly closing around him. Fear takes over his mind. He no longer sees the house, the cars, the money. He sees only death hovering above him. So, despite everything he believes, despite his fear of becoming like his father, he finally says in a broken voice, "All right, I accept. I will continue what he started." It is at that moment Victor understands. He inherited far more than a glass house. He inherited a pact. That very evening, after the incident of the Rolls-Royce turning into a coffin, the servant comes back to Victor. His face is serious, almost solemn, like someone about to reveal a forbidden secret. Follow me. It's time. Victor hesitates, then follows him. They go down a staircase he had never noticed before. At the end of a corridor, the floor becomes colder. The walls change texture. The light fades. They finally arrive in a gigantic basement. A luxurious place with black marble walls, hidden lights, and at the back, a secret door embedded in the wall as if it did not exist. The servant places his hand on the door. It opens silently by itself. He turns to Victor. "Close your eyes. Do not open them under any circumstances." Victor trembles, but he obeys. Suddenly, he feels his body become lighter, as if something is pulling him backward. Then there is nothing beneath his feet, as if he is floating in emptiness. When he opens his eyes, he is no longer in the house. He is in the world of darkness. A vast place with no visible walls, no visible ground, only deep darkness. Thick black smoke moving as if it were alive. A strange cold passes through his skin without freezing it. Victor looks around, his heart pounding. Suddenly, dozens of screens appear, floating in the air. They light up one by one. On each screen, the face of a family member, his grandmother, his cousins, his aunts, people he barely knows. People he has seen only once in his life. All of them watch him in silence, as if waiting for something. Then abruptly, the screens turn off until only one remains. The final screen shows the face of a young woman, a cousin he doesn't even know. He can't even remember her name. Victor feels a lump in his throat. The servant, invisible but present, speaks with a voice that seems to come from everywhere. "The pact demands a life. You must choose." Victor closes his eyes. He thinks of his mother, of his life, of his fear of dying. He does not want to, but he must. Finally, with a trembling voice, he says, "I accept." The screen immediately turns off. Everything disappears. In a second, Victor is back in the luxurious basement room, as if nothing had happened. But his heart is still pounding like he just ran a marathon. The servant approaches him, holding the coffin, or rather, the cursed chest capable of changing shape. This coffin can become any luxury car you want: Lamborghini, Bentley, Ferrari. It will always obey. Victor looks at the coffin with both disgust and fascination. The servant continues, "But remember this. You're not allowed to get into any other car, not even a taxi. Otherwise, it gets angry, and you already know what it can do." Victor swallows hard and nods. He accepts the rules of the pact, even though he does not fully understand them yet. He has entered a world where luxury is only a mask, and where the shadows decide who lives and who dies. Years pass, and Victor's life has nothing in common with that of the little boy who used to sell sachets of water at the market. The pact he accepted without truly understanding it begins to transform his existence. Throughout the country, people talk about him. They call him the man with the impossible cars. One day he is seen in a Lamborghini, the next in a Rolls Royce, then in a Bentley, as no one has ever seen him buy a single car. People invent stories. He's blessed. He found a treasure. He does magic. But no one knows the truth. No one knows that behind his smiles, behind his luxury clothes, behind his success, there is a coffin. A coffin that gives him everything and takes everything too. The more famous he becomes, the richer he gets. Men respect him. Women want to meet him. The media talks about him as a living miracle. But inside, Victor feels more and more imprisoned. One day, as at the end of every year, the servant takes him to the basement, the lights go out. The journey begins. Victor finds himself again in the world of darkness, facing the floating screens. This time, there are not many faces. There is only one. His mother. Victor feels himself break. He almost falls to his knees. The woman who fought for him, the one who sold donuts so he could eat, the one who cried to protect him. Now she is the one the pact demands. He cries, he begs, he says he wants to choose someone else. But the dark voice answers, "A sacrifice is not a choice. It is a debt, and your mother must pay." Victor hesitates. He regrets everything, but he thinks of his life, his wealth, his fame, and the death waiting for him if he refuses. So, With tears in his eyes, he accepts. The next day, his mother dies in her new house quietly, without noise, without explanation. Victor collapses for days. He doesn't eat. He doesn't speak. He doesn't go out. But, as always with the pact, the pain of a sacrifice is always followed by a reward. More money, more cars, more power, and Victor returns to his luxurious life, a life where happiness is only a facade. With time, Victor rebuilds himself. He meets a woman. He gets married. It is a beautiful, sumptuous ceremony, worthy of an important man. 1 year later, they welcome a baby boy, his son, his treasure, the only light in his dark life. Victor smiles again. He even begins to believe that he can live with the pact without losing anyone else. After all, hasn't he already paid a terrible price? He thinks the worst is behind him. He is wrong. Another year comes to an end. As always, the servant comes to get him. As always, the basement opens. As always, darkness swallows him. But this time, there are no multiple screens, no suspense. There is only one face. His son, his 2-year-old child, innocent eyes, an angelic smile. Victor steps back. He says no. He says it is impossible. He begs the pact to spare the child. The voice responds calmly. If you refuse, you will die, and your son will become the heir of the pact. Victor falls to his knees. He cries like never before. All the riches of the world disappear from his mind. He realizes that this pact was never a gift, but a family curse. He wants to go back, never accept, never inherit, never know this poised luxury, but it is too late, far too late. And Victor refuses. He prefers to die rather than give his son. A few days later, Victor is found dead in his house. No wounds, no violence. As if his heart simply gave up. In his office, a will is found, already prepared. A will in which he leaves all his inheritance to his 2-year-old son. An innocent child? A child who understands nothing. A child who, without knowing it, has just inherited the same pact as his father. The cycle repeats. The story begins again, and the coffin is already waiting for its next master. Victor's story reminds us of a truth many people forget. Not everything that shines is meant to be envied. In life, we see people succeed, drive beautiful cars, live in luxury houses, display perfect smiles, and we ask ourselves, why not me? Why them and not me? But we often ignore the hidden price behind these apparent successes. Victor became rich, famous, respected, a role model for some, a symbol of success for others. But no one knew he lived with fear, with blood, with a pact that destroyed everything he loved. No one knew that his photo was floating somewhere in the world of darkness, and that every year he had to pay a terrible price to keep shining. Many people we admire may be living impossible things, silent suffering, sacrifices we know nothing about. That is why you should never envy another person's life. You don't know what they had to lose to get where they are. Instead of envying, pray. Pray for your own life. Pray for your family. Pray that your name is never found in a place it should not be. Pray that your destiny remains protected, clean, and blessed. Because sometimes, while you sleep peacefully, your photo is circulating in a world you do not know, a world where choices are made without your knowledge, a world where the spiritual speaks while you remain unaware. So keep your heart pure. Do not be jealous. Do not chase easy wealth. True wealth is the kind that does not demand your life in return. And if this story touched you, opened your eyes, or reminded you of an important truth, don't hesitate to subscribe, like, and share to support these stories and discover even deeper ones. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, even a simple emoji. It helps the channel grow and motivates me to tell you even more incredible stories. Thank you for your support.